I think my parents stopped having sex since.
This is another episode altogether.
Are we bad children or do our parents suck? This is your daily Ketchup.
Parents suck, parents suck.
I love my parents.
Boom.
Today's episode is sponsored by Singlife. There's something that we all love to complain about, and that's about
Not enough time.
That's right, guys. So, as a generation with many competing priorities, Singlife wants to highlight the importance of planning ahead for your long-term care, especially if you have dependents that will be affected if anything happens to you. On to the episode. So, I was actually on a Reddit thread recently that was talking about like children of good parents. What were some things that your parents did right?
What a strange question to ask though. Like, don't you think, there'll be parents that are suck.
It's interesting because
There
you
are
don't
some-
think about that, ma. You only have one pair of parents. There's not much to compare to.
Yeah.
Most things you compare is like, oh, your parents got money, they buy you this, they buy you that. Or they give you freedom. But other than that, right, the actual parenting component, right, we don't compare that.
So-
only when you go to therapy, then after that, then it's like,
Then you compare with your therapist.
oh, my parents are suck. Oh, you're not supposed to beat me up. Oh.
Then the therapist parents damn good and make you feel damn inferior.
They compare.
Yes,
Hey, you know better my parents never beat
Oh, your
me.
father see on you, right?
When I was younger, I guess the point of comparison is when you go over to your friend's house. Then after you realize what their parents like would normally do when there's guests around, then you go like, how come like that?
Or you wonder whether that's the fake version.
Yeah, my parents also a great
The
parent when
friends
my
are
friends
So
are here.
I come to realize that when I became an adult, and I thought back like, actually maybe it's just for show. But like last time I'll go over to my friend's house and then like they'll whip out the fried chicken. Then I'm like, hey, last time my mother don't let me eat fried chicken at home. Or like, how come this guy every time he wants like new things, right? His shelf is full of like new toys, but then like I have to like justify. But then I come to realize now I have a better appreciation for money because of how my parents raised me. Thank you, parents.
Wow, he really go one round.
Also sponsored by his mother.
So the top comment here is, my parents let me debate them when I wanted something, and if I made a compelling argument, it could change their minds.
I feel like that's so shit.
Why? My mother always say, because I say so.
Because I grew up in the environment where, because my parents had their own business, right? So they live their life like on a next month see how kind of vibe.
Okay.
Yeah, so when they cannot afford to buy, right, and then you try and negotiate, and you might succeed also, it could be that next week they don't eat. But you wouldn't know. It's out of love. The execution is a bit weird.
Wait, but they make you as the child conscious and aware of that?
You slowly come to realize via hints. I told this story like multiple times about how they picked my sister up from school and said like, what do you want to eat? And then they McDonald's, right? And then my parents said, oh, they're not hungry, so they just bought her a McDonald's meal with their last like $8, right? And those were the kind of parents they are. Like right now, you look at, did they plan for their retirement? No. Are they in great health? No. Do they have insurance? No. It's like, when a young at time, I really don't dare to ask. If I hint they buy, great. If I hint they don't buy, which is 99% of the time, right? Probably means if they buy, it impacts ability to eat really.
I don't know whether that's a good parenting thing though. Because like, should I put my burden on a child?
When my sisters were going through their primary school, right, my parents doing quite well. They flip their house like Monopoly. We every few years move house because they flip. And then I think the 97 financial crisis came. And then that was when my dad got bankrupt, right? He did not get bankrupt due to like irresponsible loans, okay? He was the guarantor of somebody's loan and that person defaulted.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. And we had repossession. Have you all seen that before? I tell you, it's a bit sad. They planned it at a time clearly when the children were at school. And then we came back, then we realized majority of our large furniture has a white sticker on it. I think the sticker it says repossession or something. I cannot read big words back then, right? And then you see your parents try and explain it to you, yet they also cannot fluff you out too much because in a matter of a couple of weeks, those furniture will disappear from your house. You watch them try and navigate that conversation with you, and for me, like that was how I knew, we were not doing very well.
So, like, has that affected your relationship with your parents, like now, like to this day?
Yeah, I guess you feel partly responsible that they're not doing so well. Like right now, when you look at, okay, they are entire retirement and they are like a couple of surgeries from bankrupting me, right? Is it their fault? Is it my fault? Did they do it? Did they take this money, be unresponsible and go gambling? No lah. They were not good with money, yes, but they spent it on us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like something that a lot of children take away later on in life, especially when you start to understand like finance, and also when you talk to your parents and you kind of learn about their story, right? I think it's a very good opportunity to learn life lessons and to kind of not repeat the mistakes that they have made. You see what they go through. Like for example, they go through like 2 like financial crises already, right? Then you start to think that I need to better plan for my own future also. What about the two of you?
What's it like coming from money?
So I think like I've had a more complicated relationship with my parents. My mom was the like mother knows best. She's tell me to do, then I will do because this is the best way forward. My earliest memory of something really expensive that my mom bought for me was a piano. I never asked for it, but she said this piano will get you into a good school. So she bought the piano, then I have to go and learn so that I can eventually use it as like a DSA or what. She planned out much of my life for me all the way until I was in maybe JC. Yeah.
You see, and then she let go the reins for you.
Yeah,
and
then
then
I
you
retained.
quit school.
I retained after I quit school.
So actually, she really did a really good job.
Yeah.
Really, I feel like the problem is you.
No,
Yeah,
or was it to the point where Denise felt the need to overcompensate?
I feel like it might have been there also, according to my therapist.
Oh, but was that part of the plan? That she already know that this child will overcompensate, and
she
that will propel
slingshot
her
me,
into
yeah.
success. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe make sure that she quit school in tertiary or not at secondary. Let's just hold the reins for now.
But she was really hurt when I retained. Yeah, she felt like it was her fault because she felt like for the first time, like she gave me a bit more freedom, right? Then this happened. Everything that I know about, in a sense, like filial piety or how to treat my parents was ingrained to me, like by my mom, like this is an obligation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I think it's a bit hard for me to say that, like out of my heart, like I want to be taking care of her, like when she grow old, that kind of stuff. I feel like when I think about it, right, I do it more out of obligation than
Right.
out of like I love them. But on the flip side, right, do you all think you have been good children?
Okay, yeah, I don't think I have been good, but I don't think I have been bad. I've basically just been distant. They don't
Distant is bad, what?
No, because they don't expect anything from me. But I feel like they took that to a bit of an extreme. Then now there's just
So you're lonely.
distance.
You feel like you are adopted. You feel like you're without parents, a bastard child.
You just like
I think for a big period of my time, especially developing years, right, like all the way until I was like maybe 25, 26, like I just checked out of my family. Yeah, so I thought that was my fault lor. As in, once in a while they will still check in because parents
Yeah.
and love. Thank you. But I also never really respond or whatever. So
Right.
yeah, a bit difficult. But at the same time, I really cannot blame them. Have I been a good child? I think it takes 2 hands to clap.
But do you clap?
What?
Did you at least wave your hand towards the other hand?
I think I tried a few times. They've tried a few times. Here and there, the clap hit, but
it's-
sometimes miss. So, they're okay, happy. Okay,
Yeah. Or you're clapping at different times of your lives, lah.
Yeah, but hopefully in time it syncs up lah. Then after that it continues already. Yeah.
You gotta do it soon though.
My parents, right? To me they look the same like 20, 30 years ago.
Asian don't raise.
Yeah, Asian don't raisin. Okay, but because of that, right, it didn't feel like time passed. I feel like they're just the same person. But then over the last few years, then I start to hear about health problems and that kind of stuff. Then I start to see the aging happen. Yeah, and then that's where it hits me, you know, like, oh shit, how much time do they have left? How much time do I have left with them? Yeah, lor, it gets me a bit concerned lah.
Would you take care of them? Like, you say like you're not planning to get married, right? Then when they grow older, they got some health issues or what? Then like, would you move them into your house and then like take care of them?
Yeah, I think it's a no-brainer. It's just whether I can or not lor. Yeah, which is quite a big concern because they have a decent amount, I guess, of savings. I hope, but I don't think it's enough. You say like really kena some rabak tai chi one, right? Then that becomes a concern lah. Because how much can I tank, right?
Fun fact, did you know that like when you become 30, Singaporeans automatically have this thing called CareShield Life that gets activated, which is basically the insurance.
Yeah, I got the letter. I was like damn confused. Now I realize it's because I turned 30.
Oh.
Thanks.
All the best. Yeah, but so basically if you become like severely disabled, especially like during old age, right, you actually get $600 per month like to help with like your living expenses, and this payout increases over time. I think this is like quite a good time to give a shout out to our sponsors because like Singlife actually has a top up that you can do almost. It's like a supplementary plan. So it's called CareShield Standard, where basically if you buy it, it adds on to your $600.
Yeah.
Because I mean, if we think about it, like $600 is, you're probably like living very, very, very frugally. And especially if you need like medical care, all that, that's pretty difficult. So like based on Singlife's like 2018 study that they did, right, if you include like all your aids in daily living, like the help that you need with your living expenses, caregiver expenses, medication therapy, this all actually amounts to 2.3K.
Oh wow.
Which is pretty much 4 times like the amount that you will get from your CareShield Life.
Yeah.
So like with this like Singlife CareShield Standard plan, right, you can actually get up to $5,000 on top of this $600.
Yeah.
Depending on your needs. So like
A month?
Yeah, a month.
Whoa.
I mean, because CareShield Life is pretty much like a national insurance scheme, right? So you can, by getting this top up, you can actually pay for it with your MediSave. So for annual premiums, you can actually use up to $600 from your MediSave to pay for it. The requirement is that you need to be unable to perform 3 of the activities of daily living.
Ooh, how many are there altogether?
6. There are 6 altogether. So cannot bathe, cannot feed, cannot transport yourself, cannot dress yourself, cannot go toilet yourself, yeah, and cannot move around yourself though.
Right.
Yeah, so those are the 6. So as long as you cannot do 3, right, then you are eligible for this. Just now I mentioned like up to $5,000, right? But actually on top of that, right, they have other care benefits. Say for example, if you have dependents like kids under 22, you also get additional payouts on top of that.
Why,
so
yeah?
it really all adds up. Because you cannot take care of your kids, if you are unable to do your...
That's true. So if you all can, right, go and get it upgraded.
At 30 lah, the moment you hit 30 lah.
Because it's for our generation, we get it auto at 30. So we're going to start paying for it on that stuff.
Okay.
For our parents' generation, it may not necessarily, they may not be able to opt into this, especially if they already fulfill the criteria. You cannot give one time then start receiving, right? Yeah, so while you can now go and upgrade for yourself, if your parents qualify, go and upgrade for your parents. I had the same impression as you, that my parents were
Aging.
like they never
Not
age, right?
aging.
Yeah, because my parents is really young and like they are mentally very young, and then they
they go travel together. Oh,
they're
so
very
cute.
fun to talk to. And then my father watches TikTok, my mother watches variety shows. So it's like they are them in the know. So and my mom now into like astrophotography, like lousy one just with a phone, but it makes her happy, you know.
Like my mom just sent me how to basic.
So she's only like 12 years behind it.
Yeah. So then I tell her, oh, this is an OG YouTuber. Then she say, what is OG?
When I saw my dad, he goes out and he does one thing and he's gassed and he's tired and he needs to sit down. And when I saw my mom on a walking stick, then I'm like, okay.
Reality check, huh?
Yeah.
But important to have.
It's just one of those things where you wish you never have to use it, but you'll be so glad that you have it.
Is the paying for all the stupid costs, right? That in the end will just make you
Yeah, it's the medical
destroy
fees,
your bank account.
Yeah, or like the little maintenance stuff. Like Pet's grandfather, for example, has been on. He had a stroke a few years earlier, and he just lies on his bed now. If I'm not wrong, it's been close to 10 years.
Wow.
Shit.
I think one of the things that my dad always like, sometimes he jokingly say like, hey, last time you baby, I clean your shit, I clean your pee. When I old already, I cannot do it myself. Will you do it for me or not?
Yeah.
Yeah, then I look at him and I say, no lah, disgusting sia. Okay lah, but I'm joking lah. No, I will.
No, but he know that you're joking.
Oh shit, nobody know I'm joking.
Nobody will think you are joking. Your parents are.
This type of thing confirm will do one. But the money side is the biggest issue for me lah. Because just now I asked you all about like when you all start to get a job and all this kind of thing, right? Like what did they impart in you and teach you, right? So that you can, for the rest of your life kind of thing, plan out better lah, right? Money wise, right? I don't think there was anything that they kind of imparted. The only thing they taught me was kind of like the value of money from a very young age, which I really appreciate. That's why I don't anyhow go and buy like expensive stuff.
I think as
Like,
you say
very
this, I
wasted.
also just kind of have the realization that like I think like this like resentment that I have for like my mom at least. Same thing like they never teach me how to like manage my money. It just always felt like okay, like I've given you a good education, right? Now go and figure it out, but also give me 25% of your money. I think to me, I have this small resentment that it feels like I'm being very like held back in my like the most important 10 years of building wealth in my life. Yeah, but I think like you said, like no hesitation to take care of them when they're older, especially if they need medical help. Yeah, but I think if they're healthy, right, I might not want them to stay with me, lor. So like for John, right, like your parents moved in, I think a few years ago, right? What was that like?
And then they moved up.
Oh yeah, they got a new PTO now.
Actually, my parents moved in at the time. It was such a weird experience because that was when my marriage damn near like ended. Yeah. It was the most severe fights of our entire marriage, or even our. How many years have we been together?
Oh.
For 12 years together.
Nice.
I think what was different was that Pet's upbringing, she never really had anything of her own.
Right.
Everything is like really share and pass around, inherited, that kind of one. And so when she got this house, to me I was damn sad. Like when I moved out of my parents' house, I ball, I damn sad to leave my parents, right? But Pet is like, but because I was there to carry her last shit, right? He's like, bye bye, I'll come and see you. Then she just ciao, and then she damn excited. Let's move to our new house, you know? It was hers. It was that one thing that is hers. And when my parents moved in, the biggest problem was the pee lah. I was my dad's refusal to pee
In the toilet?
Into the
yeah. But last time he will deny. But last time we don't give a shit. Is that last time, even though he pee on the seat, right? Not my problem.
Yeah.
It's your house.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
That was your
nowadays-
mom's problem lah.
and because my mom is hyper conscientious, and so she cleans the toilet every single day, which like
No way.
I don't even clean my room's toilet like more than once a week, I think. Like, or when it smells.
No, you said too much.
Or is that a testament to your accuracy?
Hey.
I got you, man. I got you.
No, he sit down and pee.
Yeah, I just want to say the heck is to sit down and pee at home. You get to use your phone. You don't have to worry about aiming.
So the worst thing, right, was that while I was damn sian about my like marriage already, right? At that point of time, there is nothing for me to like, they say like marriage is about communication. You gotta sit down and talk to her. And we do, and she gets it and she completely get it, and she will tell me, I know what I'm feeling is wrong. And I hate myself for feeling this way. But I feel this way. And she's not expecting me to do anything about it. And she has articulated it as clearly as possible to the point we don't really need to fight about it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, which is why that impasse was even huger, because everybody is self-aware. Everybody knows what we're going on. Everybody is tiptoeing around. But I do want to say that was like a 3-4 month thing.
Right.
And then we bonded out of it. When they moved out, we cried. And Pat is like, I know why you want to leave your parents. Next time, ask them to move back with us. So that's the happy ending there.
Speaking of tiptoeing, right? You have to be quieter when you have sex when your parents leave you.
We do.
Because you share a wall, especially.
We share a wall.
Ooh.
Must see whether you're loud or not lah. You know what I mean? Some volume, the soundproofing cannot help you.
Why you never ask about whether his
Yeah.
parents need to be softer?
The worst one is that your parents are the
the
loud
other
one.
way around. Were they conscious of the same thing?
I think my parents stopped having sex since
This is another episode altogether.
30 years plus. Yeah.
I think in his case, because like his parents were here for like a temporary solution, right? But if in the case of like they were gonna stay there forever, you need to be taking care of them, like maybe like Pat's grandpa also, right? Then would y'all choose to send your parents to a nursing home instead?
My preference is no lah, but it also has to depend on circumstance, right? Like, what if I only have a 1-bedroom apartment also, then like cannot, But I would feel very, 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 very guilty if I had to do it. It would feel as though I've abandoned them.
Like there's this saying among that generation, if you don't treat your children well, they're gonna send you to an old folks home. Like it's a punishment.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's there lor. I think it stems from that.
What's
So-
the difference?
Oh,
OH
okay,
and
okay.
nursing.
Sorry, let me clarify. So OH home is one where like old folks home lah.
Old folks, yeah.
So that one is like, it's almost like a retirement club. Like you just go there then, and stay there lor. But then nursing home is if you need help, like you need nursing care, they have like facilities, medical equipment, they have like nurses that will help you lah.
Okay.
More medical based lah.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's the
Understand.
difference.
Out of those two options, there's also a third one, which is almost like daycare, where you send your parents somewhere so that they can get exercise or stay active for like maybe 9 to 6. Then you finish work already, you can pick them up and then bring them home. I think that's to me a good balance because they at least get to be social, they get to be around people and active, but then they at least get to come home and sleep in what feels like a home.
Right.
In that sense.
On the point of like guilt, right? I feel like I'm moving my parents away, like into a non-home, right? But then I will just visit them very often, right? Like, I can go down, but then the reality of it is that I will probably start visiting less and less,
Yeah.
and then it will become 1 or 2 months thing, and then it will really feel like I have abandoned my parents who
Like-
taken care of me when I was young.
I feel like even if you said you had your parents at home and you have to do all this, right? I think there's like caregivers type of like stresses and burdens
Yeah.
and psychological issues that will pop up, right? And then resentment might form.
The Channel 8 show.
Or is that time really the real time that you're spending with them? Or is it just doing menial tasks that you don't really you don't need to do one?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
We should get parents to kind of like vocalize and share what they want. Because sometimes that's not what they want. Right?
Have your parents talked to you about this?
Like at least my mom, I think she again don't want to bother. So once she can set herself up and she's good, right? She'd rather be like comfortable alone in a smaller space that is just her own, and then she will just do whatever she want, lor. Yeah, like painting or cooking or writing or whatever.
Right.
I feel like a lot of it has to do with timing. So like, for example, if you are going to be sandwiched, right, and you're going to reach a stage where you need to take care of your parents and your kids.
Yeah.
I think personally, my sister has figured it out because she is in her 40s. She just hit 40, right? My parents are approaching their 70s. Her kids are like almost teenagers. It's gotten to a point where she's so busy, but because she lives with both my parents and her kids, right? My parents just take care of the kids. So like sending the kids to school, my parents take care.
That's a terrible retirement, yeah.
No, but it's great because to my parents, like grandparents have the easiest job because you don't have to discipline the kids, but you get to experience all the best of child rearing, like the happy moments. It's the parent that has
raising.
to like, you sure? Like it's the parent that has to go
Child
and
farming.
all the other stuff, right? So like you really have the best of both worlds because you get to spend time as an entire family unit, but when you're really busy, you got your parents there to take care of the kids. and then you got the kids to like really like fulfill all that parent needs and gaps and stuff.
I think that sounds great, and I think it can work if you have the space for it. But if it's a very confined space where everything is happening all together,
increasingly,
everybody's stepping on each other's shoes.
I'm hearing grandparents be like, you don't expect me to take care of your kids.
Yeah.
Because they've done it. I feel like they paid their dues. So right, my ultimate bucket list dream in life, right? And I've said this multiple times over the years, okay? So if I've told you this in person, right? It means that I want you to do this with me. Okay? Wow. This idea is too big already. When I was vacationing in Australia, this Australian person, we were just moving her car for her. She's waiting for her friends to come, and so we strike out a usual conversation. And she said, "Oh, I just dropped my mum off the retirement home." Then as Singaporeans, we just like, oh, like, you know, you give like a very neutral, because you don't know, like a you bitch, you know.
Yeah.
And she could sense it. I think, right?
Your
Because I mean,
judgment.
we were in Melbourne and stuff, so I guess there's a lot of Asians, and then so they also understand that stereotype, right? And so she immediately said, "Oh no!" She was so excited. She checked in 1 week earlier. Today, I went to bring her and her friends some wine, and when I arrived at 4 p.m., they were already drunk.
Wow.
Then I'm like, poof.
That's the life.
And that like got this idea going, right? Of retirement homes should be like that, because it's to see whether instead of saying like the stereotype one, you go to Batam or you go and like bet horse, you go and buy 4D, and then you like just make yourself poor again, right? You are buying into a retirement home, a resort of sorts, right? Where let's say like four of us, we became damn good friends and we decide, oh, you want to retire together at what age, right? Then we count down at age 58, right? We're like, hey bro, 2 more years. Then like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, we quit, we grab our shit, we sell our house, and then we like, let's go to the last resort. It doesn't matter where your partner is dying, you go and find another Betsy or like, because that's where your friends are all there. Elizabeth, Margaret, they're all Philip. They're all there. I just named the royal family.
Once again, thank you to Singlife for sponsoring today's episode. Singlife CareShield Standard enhances your coverage so you can get up to $5,000 more on top of your CareShield Life monthly payouts if you're severely disabled. You also get other care benefits to help you make adjustments to your life. And the best part is that you can easily sign up for this within minutes from their website, which you'll see here. And for more information, you can refer down to the description box where we'll put other links. Sign up while you're young, guys, because premiums start lower if your entry age is lower. See you in the next episode. Bye-bye. Like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe.